What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about 15 things that you didn't know about living in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Let's get into the video. My name is Ramon Lomeli. I'm a local realtor and the team leader of the Smart Move Group brokered by eXp Realty here in Winston-Salem, as well as all the surrounding areas. I'm excited to share these 15 things with you guys, and I already know that some of you guys are going to love these, some of you guys are going to hate these. Before we jump into it though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'm just a phone call or a text message away. You can always reach out. The number on the screen is my personal cell phone number. People don't believe me, but it's right here. It goes to no one else but me. I am going to leave you some awesome links in the about section of this video, including some more resources, the free Winston-Salem relocation guide. In case you want to see homes that are currently for sale in the area, it's a link that automatically updates. It's in the about section as well as my social media handles in case you want to be my friend on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I do post a lot of local content, food reviews of local restaurants, things to do. And lastly, do me a huge favor. I really do mean it is a huge favor. Hit that like button, leave me a comment, but above all, subscribe. It does take a lot of time and energy and resources to make these videos for you guys every single week. I'm doing my best to not miss a week. I only missed a couple the entire 2023. I'm going to do my best to not miss any in 2024. But whenever you guys are liking these videos, leaving comments and subscribing, it really tells me that you guys are liking what you're seeing. It lets me know that I'm on the right path, and it might help this video get to more people that might need it. So definitely do me that huge favor. It goes a long way. Number 15 on today's list, packing heat. One thing that really shocked me when I moved here from Southern California is that people often just carry heat on their side hip here, and it's kind of common, it's kind of normal. So you gotta remember that we are still a southern state and we are still a conservative state, and a lot of people like to exercise their Second Amendment. We are surrounded by a lot of rural areas. Hunting is huge here. A lot of people like to hunt. Gun ownership is high, generally speaking, and people like to, sports shooting, clay shooting, all kinds of competitive shooting competitions all over the place. So yeah, it's kind of a part of life if you live in North Carolina. Like I said, in Winston-Salem, you're not gonna see it as much. You will see it every now and then, but if you're in one of the little towns surrounding Winston-Salem and you pop into a Walmart, you might see a couple people packing heat on their hips, and it's normal. Number 14, inclement weather in Winston-Salem. Now, I will say that I've realized that the northern people that are coming up here from northern states, they make fun of us because we don't know how to act during hazardous weather. If we experience heavy rain, you'll see a lot of people slow down and turn their blinkers on, and some other people just fly by them. I rarely turn my blinkers on unless it's really bad, but for the most part, you do see a lot of people kind of slow down and get into the slower lane and just turn their hazards on and go really slow when it really starts to come down. If they are predicting a snowstorm, be prepared because the store shelves are going to be empty, especially when it comes to bread and milk. I know it's probably common where you're from too, but it really happens here. I mean, you go to the grocery store and there is no bread and no milk. I guess everyone loves to eat milk sandwiches during snowstorms. And we do get a ton of rainfall in North Carolina, and Winston-Salem specifically. It is not uncommon for us to have, 2-3 days of sunshine and then we get a big thunderstorm. The cool thing is, and what I've noticed people say about it, is that it'll rain pretty heavily, but it usually kind of peters itself out or kind of storms real hard and kind of ends really quickly. So it's not like it's storming all day. It's either that or we'll get 2 or 3 days of gloomy, start raining, stop raining, start raining, stop raining for, a couple days, 2-3 days, 4 days, and then the nice weather comes back around. It seems like it's becoming less and less common to actually see snow at least here in the Winston-Salem area, because it used to snow, I feel like every other year, every third year, and it's been a while since we've actually seen snow. I'm saying this, watch us get a ton of snow next year, but the most snow I've ever seen personally on the ground here in Winston-Salem, I've maybe seen 4 or 5 inches, but it's pretty to see and it's fun to play with. And the cool thing is that usually the next day it's all melted and you can go back to school, go back to work. But on that note, I will say that if you hear that it's gonna snow, chances are before you get home, the school's calling you, school's canceled, little Timmy's gonna be home for the next 2-3 days. Number 13, you probably didn't know how green Winston-Salem is. Now, once again, I'm from Southern California. Over there, you have your beaches, you have your forest, you have your deserts, but by and large, most of North Carolina is gonna be very green, lush forest. Like I mentioned before, I'm from California, where we have kind of a diverse mix of different environments, right? We have some beaches, we have the desert, we have some redwood forests and things of that nature. Here in North Carolina, most of it, unless it's swampy or beachy towards the beach there, most of North Carolina is gonna be hilly, wooded, kind kind of foresty. North Carolina gets a significant amount of rain. It rains a lot here, and because of that, we grow a lot of, naturally, a lot of things grow here. It's insanely lush and beautiful, especially when around April and maybe late March, it starts to bloom. Everything starts to turn colors from the dead browns of winter to the, coming back to life of spring. It's beautiful, and you can really tell, like, the scenery changes drastically. Another thing that surprised me about North Carolina and Winston-Salem specifically is the insane amounts of kudzu. Now, kudzu is an invasive species of vine, essentially, and it's all, I mean, if you look over to the left or to the right, anytime you're driving down the road, you're probably gonna see trees with kudzu all over it. About a year ago, I have a niece in California. She came to visit us about a year ago, and she said something that I'll never forget. She said, "Man, it really feels like you guys live in a state park out here because everything is just so green. There's huge trees and everything is so hilly and beautiful," and she loved it. Now, I don't think she's gonna move here. She likes the city life, but I do think that that's a good way to describe North Carolina. It feels like we live in a national park, especially if you're in the more rural areas and not in the downtown city parts. Number 12, the styles of homes. Now, obviously, the styles of homes vary from state to state. Where I grew up in the Southwest, we saw a lot of those terracotta roofs, a lot of the stucco wall. We don't see a lot of stucco here. We don't see a lot of terracottas. We don't see a lot of those kind of brownish color homes. We see a lot of, if it's older home, it's gonna be usually brick, sometimes stone. A lot of times the newer construction homes, unless you get over a certain price range, are gonna be vinyl or cement siding. Some people call it a cementous siding. Some people call it hardy plank or hardy board. I would say that by and large, the most common type of home in North Carolina is gonna be a brick rancher, usually a one-story brick rancher. A lot of them have basements. A lot of them have a little bit of land too, maybe half an acre plus. But the cool thing is that here in Winston-Salem, a lot of times the styles of home kind of vary from neighborhood to neighborhood. You'll see everything: Craftsman's, Georgian, Tudor, salt box style homes. You got your Cape Cods, a lot of Cape Cods actually out here. There's a ton of different styles of homes. You got a lot of bungalows, chalet, A-frames. You got log cabins are really popular around here. We're seeing some really cool, this is really exciting for me actually. We're starting to see a lot of barndominiums pop up all over the place. So it's getting exciting, but I do like that we do offer a lot of different styles of homes here in Winston-Salem. Number 11 is gonna be the friendly people. And I say this to everyone when I talk to them on the phone when they're thinking about moving to the Winston-Salem area, that the people here in Winston-Salem are so friendly. That southern charm, that southern hospitality is still here, alive and well. And they kind of say, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." And then they get here and they see it in person. They're like, "Wow, people are super nice." It just, I'm not sure what it is. Obviously, the southern charm, southern hospitality, all that has something to do with it. But you're just walking down the road. People are waving at you. People are, for no reason smiling at you, telling you to have a good day, holding doors open, letting you merge in traffic. And honestly, it's addicting. I mean, everyone, if someone's nice to you, you're gonna want to be nice to the next person, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the things I love, that Winston-Salem, the South, North Carolina. Well, I can't speak for the whole South, but North Carolina, by and large, from what I've experienced, is very friendly. Winston-Salem, definitely. And I'm not saying there's not jerks out there. There are jerks for sure. Every now and then you'll run into one, but for the vast majority of people, they are going to be super nice, super friendly, super amicable. Number 10 of things you probably didn't know about moving to Winston-Salem: humidity. June through August in North Carolina, and Winston-Salem specifically, are brutal. These are going to be our highest humidity months. It gets really hot and muggy. It rains every other day, which keeps the moisture levels higher. So, either the sun's beaming on you or you're breathing in and you're walking around in that humid air. I'll keep going back to this, but when I first moved here from like a dry heat like California, moving to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, I remember literally feeling like I was having trouble taking a breath because of, well, A, the air was a lot cleaner and that was different for me, but also B, the humidity when we moved here in July of like 2001. But I do have to say that I've been to other places, more southern states like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, where I've experienced crazy amounts of humidity where I'm like, what are we complaining about back home in Winston-Salem? Also, Puerto Rico, I've been lucky enough to travel to Puerto Rico for our honeymoon. We went to Hawaii, and I was like, man, these are real humidity. We don't have humidity compared to these places where, I kind of knew what to expect, but it was still very, very a lot stronger than, what I've ever experienced here in Winston-Salem. So I tell people in North Carolina and Winston-Salem, AC, air conditioning is a must. You definitely need it, and you're gonna feel like you're gonna want to shower because it's so humid outside. But honestly, if you're just going from home to the car to the office and back home, unless you have an outdoor job and you're out there in the humidity, it's probably it's gonna be annoying for 30 seconds while you walk from your car to your job. We're gonna keep going with this list. I do wanna give myself one more plug before we keep going though. Just remember that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, call me or shoot me a text. Number on the screen, that's my personal cell phone, goes to no one else but me. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave me a comment, but above all, subscribe. That really keeps me motivated to keep making these videos for you. Don't forget about the awesome links I left in the about section of this video, including the Winston-Salem relocation guide, completely free list of homes that are currently available in the Winston-Salem area, and my social media handles in case you want to be my friend on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I do post a lot of like short form content about Winston-Salem, about the surrounding areas, food reviews. I got things going on so you can kind of see and get a feel for the vibe of the city. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's get back into the video. Another thing that comes along in the summer usually is mosquitoes. Number 9, mosquitoes. North Carolina unfortunately ranks in the top 10 of the worst states in America for mosquitoes. Now, funny enough, I know that like in California, we used to have those like big, like really almost butterfly sized mosquitoes. They were kind of larger and they're annoying. You could hear them. Here, they're little tiny buggers and you can, barely see them. And before, you don't feel them and they grab you. Next thing you know, you're slapping and you're scratching and you're itching. So the mosquitoes are a little, sly and they're sneaky and they jump on you when you're not expecting it and you don't see them coming like in other places. I don't live relatively close to any bodies of water, and in the summertime we don't get any mosquitoes at home. It's only usually when you have either like a pail of water in your yard, or you're next to a creek or a river or a stream or a pond or some kind of body of water that you're gonna have mosquitoes usually. Now, if you are experiencing a problem with mosquitoes, obviously there's these fogs that pest control companies can spray. They usually last a little while, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. Also, I know my mom lives near a little creek in the back there, and in her yard she likes to put these tiki torches with the little mosquito repellent stuff, and usually that's all it takes to get them to stop, to leave you alone. I know that if we're gonna go hiking or be outside for an extended period of time during the summer, we either wear those like off bracelets, I think, or we just spray ourselves with some off, and usually you're fine with that. So once again, mosquitoes, they suck here. There are a lot of mosquitoes, especially if you're near a body of water. But honestly, if you're just take some precautions, spray some off on yourself, or take precautions by calling a pest control company or treating your area yourself, probably not going to be a big deal. Number 8 of things that you didn't know about living in Winston-Salem, let's talk about panhandlers. Now, panhandling is not illegal in Winston-Salem, but there are certain restrictions. Panhandlers are required to have a license or a permit from the city of Winston-Salem, which comes with rules and regulations. Panhandlers are not allowed to stand in medians or walk into traffic to ask for money. It is illegal to panhandle 20 feet from an ATM machine, a bus stop, or a bank. Aggressive panhandling is not allowed. I'm not sure exactly how they define aggressive panhandling. And if they violate these rules, they will be cited or they will be arrested. Now, I will say on that note that I have seen an increase in the amount of panhandling, especially in the last 2-3 years. It's definitely not to levels of like, major cities like Atlanta or Southern California. There's a lot. So we're seeing a growth in it, but for the most part, it's almost like you recognize the same few people in certain areas. So if you like frequent an area, like the mall area comes to mind, there's like 3 or 4 that I recognize that I always see them. So it's not like there's so many that I don't know who's who. I just, I always know it's that one guy or it's that one chick or it's that one guy. So yeah, it's not horrible. They're generally polite, and a lot of people do give them money, but it's just, but it is something you should know. Number 7 of things you probably didn't know about living in Winston-Salem, we're gonna talk about yard sizes. If you're moving here from a larger city, you'll be happy to know that typically Winston-Salem is gonna have larger yard sizes than most major cities. Now, that is a trend that we are starting to see kind of diminish. Most of the new construction neighborhoods that they're building as of like 2010 or newer are actually gonna have less land typically than the other neighborhoods, the more established neighborhoods. It wasn't odd to have neighborhoods with homes, just standard lot sizes of 0.3 to 0.8 of an acre, but now that seems to be kind of going away. So if you're moving to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, you're probably gonna wanna pick up a ride mower and some lawn equipment, and make sure you have a basement to store it all in, or a little storage shed. Now that that's required, you could also hire a service like I do. Don't make fun of me. I just have to make these videos, so I can't be landscaping every weekend. Number 6, we're gonna talk about how boring Winston-Salem, North Carolina can be. So if you're coming from a larger city around here, maybe Charlotte or Raleigh, you're definitely gonna think that Winston-Salem is a little bit more boring, a little slower, a little, slower paced than what you're used to. I personally love that Winston-Salem seems to be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more, you know, slower paced. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have anything to do. We're a city of breweries and, you know, food truck festivals, and there's always stuff going on downtown, whether that's nightlife events or even during the day where you get your car shows, your trade shows, your, you know, your food truck festivals, things, wine festivals, beer festivals, all kinds of stuff going on, barbecue festivals, but yeah, all kinds of stuff. So it just kind of depends on if you're looking for clubs and dancing and that kind of lifestyle. You're probably not going to find it here in Winston-Salem, although I will say we do have Greensboro for some clubs. We also have Charlotte, Raleigh for some clubs, so you don't have to go too far to get some of that action. But by and large, Winston-Salem is going to be more of a city with some great food, some great restaurants, some great local spots. You've got some amazing hometown, like a lot of breweries in downtown Winston-Salem and throughout the city. You also have some amazing wineries and vineyards all over the greater Winston-Salem area. So there's always something to do. It's just going to be a little bit more laid back, you know? I'm signed up to a newsletter, and every single weekend there's like a comedy show, music festival, there's like exercising, there's events in every single downtown area, there's farmers markets, there's I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here, there's always something going on. And during the summer, it's kind of funny, but during the summer it almost feels like there's at least one food truck festival a month in a different location, which I love because there's always new food trucks. Even the established food trucks always have new food to try, and you know, look at me, I like food. Number 5, we're going to talk about sidewalks. So I wanted to bring this up for a few different reasons. Number 1, Winston-Salem is not a very walkable city. I know that's a new trendy thing in major cities, how walkable cities can be, but Winston-Salem is just not there yet. If you move here, you're definitely going to need a vehicle, unless you just live downtown and have no kids, or you just like to Uber everywhere you go. A lot of the established neighborhoods, I would say 9 out of 10 established neighborhoods in Winston-Salem do not have sidewalks, and some of them will have a sidewalk, but it will only be on one side of the road as opposed to both. And that kind of makes it difficult if you like to jog, or, you know, take the kids for a walk, or go, you know, take the dogs out for a walk. That could make it difficult. A lot of people just honestly end up walking on the side of the road there in most cases. Now, if you really want to do some walking, some running, taking the kids out or the dogs out, the good thing is that Winston-Salem has 79 public parks that you can go, so you're never far from at least a walking trail or a large green space with playgrounds and walking trails. You always have at least like a park or a lake or a river park nearby. I will also say that it seems that that's kind of coming to an end, because 9 out of 10 new construction neighborhoods most of the time end up having a sidewalk, at least on one side of the road, if not both. So it seems like that might be a thing of the past, no sidewalks in these older neighborhoods, but you know, this is kind of the direction we're headed in now. Number 4, minimum wage. The minimum wage in North Carolina has not changed since 2008. Currently, our statewide minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. This is a huge downside. It's not great, but I will say that most entry-level jobs pay well above minimum wage. It's only, you know, usually the part-time jobs, usually the teenager, high school part-time jobs that are paying anywhere close to minimum wage from what I've seen. Number 3, let's talk about some breweries. If you're a fan of beer, you're gonna love it here. That rhymes. I didn't mean, I'm gonna keep it in. Winston-Salem is actually home to over a dozen local breweries, which is quite amazing when you take into account the size of the city. And one thing that I've noticed is that even if you're not at a brewery, a lot of the local bars and restaurants support the breweries, because, you know, you can order a beer on tap from this brewery or this brewery, and they all kind of collaborate together, which is pretty amazing. And even if you don't like breweries, it's really cool to go to them anyway, because they'll have trivia nights, they'll have karaoke, they'll have giveaways, they'll have special events. There's always some kind of event going on at the local breweries, even if it's just bring your dog to the brewery day and there's, you know, going to be a food truck there. So it's always a fun time. When me and my wife end up going out, if we want to grab a beer, we're usually going to end up at a brewery. And the cool thing is too that you know, now that I'm going off on a tangent here, the cool thing is that a lot of times there's like breweries that are like super crowded and packed and super trendy, and like it's really good beer, but it's kind of, you know, a lot going on in there. But then there's also breweries that like it's a lot more chill, a lot more laid back, and they may not be in the most crowded part of downtown Winston. They're a little bit on the outskirts, but it's a lot more relaxed atmosphere. They might have a little fire going, and you can sit out there, enjoy a beer, maybe bring the dog, have some food truck food, and call it a night. Number 2, let's talk about the art scene in Winston-Salem. One of our nicknames, one of our most recent nicknames now, is the City of Arts and Innovation. We are a hub for various different types of art, including theater, dance, culinary art, public art, and even cinema. The city hosts several annual events surrounding all different kinds of art. The downtown area of our city is covered by some amazing murals, and the city really loves and encourages a lot of the arts in the area. Number 1, you should know the cost to buy a home. According to MLS, in 2023, the average home price of a home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina was about $320,000. That does strike me as a little bit higher than I was expecting. I think part of it is because a lot of the homes that were sold were actually new construction, which typically are going to be a little bit higher than that 320 price range. They're going to be higher than the average price range. And that was because the interest rates were so high that no one that had a home wanted to sell and trade their, 3 or 2% interest rate for a 7 or 8% interest rate. Typically, those resale homes are going to be a little bit more affordable, just generally speaking, on the average price. So that would bring our average down. However, because we had such a huge amount of new construction homes last year, I believe anyway that's why our average price point is a little bit higher than kind of what we were expecting. Now, I do sell a lot of homes under 300 kind of all day long. 250 to 300, there's a ton of options out there. When you get lower than that, now you're starting to compromise a lot, whether it's a bedroom or the yard size or the location or the proximity to something. But 250 to 300, you can still usually find, a very solid 3-bedroom, 2-bath, at least a 1-car garage, newer, popular area of town. Keep in mind that according to Forbes, the national average of a home price in the nation is still over $400,000, so we're still significantly cheaper than that. If you want to know more information about buying a home or anything else that we talked about in today's list, feel free to reach out to me, give me a call or shoot me a text. The number on the screen is literally my personal cell phone number. It goes to no one else but me. Yeah, you can call it, shoot me a text. If I don't answer, shoot me a text and I'll call you back as soon as I can. Do me a huge favor, hit that like button, leave me a comment and subscribe, because those kinds of things, it really helps keep me motivated to keep pumping out these videos for you, and it, kind of lets me know that you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, and it makes it worth doing, because otherwise who's even watching if you guys aren't, letting me know. Don't forget about the amazing links I left in the about section of this video, including the free Winston-Salem relocation guide. I got some awesome links like homes for sale in the area, as well as all my social media handles. I do a lot of social media content, short form content about local events, local food, local things going on, so make sure you check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.